e-commerce is more of a brand driven, whereas hyperlocal is very much a trust driven commerce, right? People know each other, things get delivered, and sometimes you don't even pay them upfront, right? We want to empower them by making them efficient, grow their business, and even help them get access to credit. That's the only way we feel we can empower them. So we did a small exercise of giving a short credit, whoever needed it. In a 6 month span, I think we dispersed nearly 35 lakh from our own books, and we could recover all the money within that 1 month. They also feel proud. I'm running my business on a mobile, right? I mean, why only for a bigger company? So that gives us a lot of satisfaction.
Hello everyone, Ashok here. Thank you for tuning in to this 21st episode of Indian Startup Stories, a podcast striving to bring out experiences and insights from entrepreneurs across India. Today, our guests are Rajesh&Chengappa Chottera, co-founders of Zopnote, a company empowering proximity commerce by their digital apps with features like quicker payments, withdrawals and settlements, and much more, helping for local merchants serving the communities we live in. In this episode, Rajesh and Chengappa share their background, their journey in serial entrepreneurship, the reason behind Zopnote, helping the hyperlocal community, and how they came up with the business model around it, how they managed their early day finances, and what's in the pipeline now, their pride moments, innovations, customer success stories, and much more valuable information for us to take away. So without further ado, let's jump in. Hi Rajesh and hi Chengappa. Thank you for coming on Indian Startup Stories today. Welcome you both.
Yeah, hi Ashok. Thank you so much for inviting us, and happy to share whatever our journey or learnings.
Good morning, Ashok.
Morning. My pleasure. Thank you. Please share about your background in terms of academics and career.
Sure. Graduated in computer science, and then we started with more developing embedded software. Then how things evolved, we kind of graduated to Windows programming, then internet programming. Spent around 5 years in the US working for multiple startups, including working at Citibank. When I got back to India, I started working for HP and had a long stint, probably 11 years there, managing their product R&D. And after that, we jumped into our startup journey. It's been 7 years now. This is my second startup. So I've been enjoying the startup journey, learning and building something which helps a lot of people.
That's nice. How about you, Chengappa?
So I did my engineering from NIM Mysore, graduated in 97 in computer science. Again, took the IT journey, spent some time abroad in the US, UK, Africa, and worked in companies like which are now TCS, HCL, NDT Docomo, Cyber. Left my corporate job in 2013 as head of delivery and decided to get into startups. That is the best way to give back to society. What has given you so much. So from the last 7 years, I've been working with different startups. I think I'm trying to mentor them, but I get mentored every time I work with them. And Rajesh and I are neighbors here, and we've had a similar dream on trying to help this hyperlocal commerce and the nano merchants. And this when we got together and started this journey here.
Okay, that's wonderful to know. So both of you are serial entrepreneurs, not just with one. Nice to know that. Great. So what is this company Zopnote is about? What do you create and what businesses it is helping?
Sure. For Zopnote, the vision is simple: empowering proximity commerce. When I say we want to empower the small merchants serving the community in the neighborhood, right? We want to empower them. It's mainly because we believe in hyperlocal commerce, or you call it as a local commerce, is different from e-commerce in number of ways. If I take an example, e-commerce is more of a brand driven, not so much about the locality or hyperlocal, right? Whereas hyperlocal is very much a trust-driven commerce, right? People know each other, things get delivered, and sometimes you don't even pay them upfront, right? It's a buy now, pay later kind of a scenario. And the one more difference that we see is it's highly recurring, and most of the times it's a subscription-based service. and daily needs are served by these local merchants, right? When you look at these local merchants, they're all smart entrepreneurs. I mean, it's not that only thing is they lack access to technology and lack access to capital for their own growth
Mhm.
or prosperity. So
Mhm.
Zopnote was born to support these merchants so that we can digitize their processes and make them tech savvy and start using technology to become very efficient. And also by managing their business transaction over a time, probably we should be able to help them even get access to capital so that they can grow their business and prosper and stay in the same ecosystem where there are many other e-commerce. That's how the Zopnote vision of empowering the proximity commerce. How it helps the merchants? It's a simple mobile app where he can manage all his customers and their subscriptions and manage all the orders and very important the collection, which they were taking a lot of time and they were manually recording it. That is cut down drastically. So it saves a lot of time and cost for collecting the payments for the services that they deliver. Along with that, we provide a little business intelligence and quite a bit of reports, which helps them a lot more visibility of their business. And one more very important, their customers, right? So they have a communication, a reach to those customers, and they can help them much better, right? And it builds a transparency between these two, which I call it as it's a trust-driven commerce. So all these transactions were happening, they were managing it, but without the intervention of any tech, which leads to a lot of leakage. Sometimes it leads a kind of a transparency is missed out because he would write in a book and one day he will go and show, okay, this is my bill, right? So we are trying to address all these by developing this proximity commerce platform. That's our product. And merchants get onboarded and merchants will onboard his regular customers and the journey starts from there. So that's our solution, and that's how it helps merchants and his customer also get a convenience of tracking all his expenses and making payments on time. So it's an ecosystem that we are building for the last mile commerce.
Okay, that's interesting. No, including the billing and customer handling, everything coming within an app.
Yes.
Nice. How did it all begin? Where did you get the spark to begin Zopnote?
Yeah, I'll start probably. Chengappa can add. See, our journey started from the first startup, which is iRef. We were trying to solve the information problem that was a mobile recharge for a prepaid users. What to recharge and when to recharge was solved by us. It was a fantastic journey. We had around 6 million plus users, and we also had a reach to around 250,000 small merchants in India. And we were
Mhm.
running a
Okay.
lot of campaigns with them. That's when we learned a lot of things. There is a need for tech for these small businesses, number one. There is a need for a communication channel between these small merchants to a consumer to build a healthy kind of a relationship. I mean, including transaction and a relationship between these people, right? So that's
Okay.
how
Okay.
we kind of started looking at this. At the same time, we came across our own newspaper vendor asking, I mean, I'm finding it very difficult to go and collect money door to door, and I'm finding it difficult to reconcile these digital payments that happens randomly. And
Mhm.
he needed a solution. So we kind of started within 3 months, launched it and started validating our hypothesis of need of a tech, need of a simplification, a need of managing books digitally on a small mobile device.
Okay, so it's helping for the utilities as well, like
Correct,
newspapers.
Right.
correct.
And I kind of looked at this problem from a different perspective. So we live all of us live in a small community, right? And this community is being serviced by the same players, whichever community we live in. We have all of us have a grocer, a milkman, a cobbler, a tailor, kirana shoppers, and very similar setup whichever part of the country you go. And it's here to stay, especially even though there's so much of online happening in India. We will always be serviced by these local community based businesses.
True,
So we
true.
were looking at platforms on how to bring these people together, how to bring the service provider and the service receiver together. And I was looking at these things on a more on a community level. And Rajesh was doing this from, like you said, payments and collections. We thought let's bring them together. So not just socially getting them together, but also for business as well.
Wonderful. That's a pretty good start. As your business is adopted by more than 250 communities, and how long did it take to bring this massive customer adoption? Now it's more than 200, I guess 20K subscribers, I believe. What formula has worked for you in terms of customer adoption and retention?
Sure. We have grown beyond that point, and the journey has been close to 2 years now since we launched our first service. Now we are live in
Mhm.
more than 800 communities, and we have around 43,000 subscribers and generating
Wow,
around 50,000 plus transaction every month. And that would only grow as we scale the business.
nice.
So it's mainly what we picked up the use case. It was manual. I think I give an example of a newspaper vendor, right? It was manually recording, writing the bills, going door to door. Collection was also manual, right? I mean, digitization payments, I think we had not enabled. So since the problem existed, because there was a friction in collection, right? So it gave us a good start. I think collection was a common denominator problem when we started off. People used to spend for a 500 house to be served at least 12 to 15 days going every weekend and spending a day to 2 days writing a bill book, right? And there are a lot of manual errors. They used to lose around 15%, up to 15% revenue leakage. So this was an existing problem, and there was no tech for these small. I call them as entrepreneurs. So these small merchants didn't have access to tech. There was nothing built specifically for them, right? They had a payment solution, but it's just collecting payments. They needed all in one kind of a solution, right? From managing customers, billing, orders, collections, settlements, and reports, right? So they have a. So that's what we kind of solved. That helps us to capture this multiple communities. And if you ask me the retention, because this has become a habit for these people, and they've been using it, very less churn in the system. So that's how we are able to kind of grow from community to community, as well as retain these merchants and subscribers. Because subscribers feedback has been fantastic. I mean, they needed somebody to deploy this in community because this is another need, right? Local utility payments like that. So they loved the simplicity, and we did not deploy any app for these end customers. They can just click on the link from any device anywhere and make the payments, right? So that helped us to grow significantly in the last 2 years.
For the end customer, they always pay online and they're used to paying online. So now paying their merchant become much more convenient. And also our transparency of showing the bills, showing the past transactions becomes very easy for them to reconcile records as well. Because sometimes there are so many small transactions they make, they don't remember it, and then it always comes to a conflict in terms of did I really have this expense? Is this bill correct, incorrect? So all that ease which the customer was already used to, we gave them that access also to the local nano merchant in their community.
Okay, so even without app, they were able to manage for the payments and stuff. Okay, that's a little different. Nice. Coming to the incubation platform available for startups in India, you were associated with multiple incubation platforms like NASCOM, Google Accelerators, NSRCL. Please share about your experience and the process involved there. What's the nature of work associated with respect to the incubation platforms?
Yeah, sure. We started our journey with IRF getting incubated at NASCOM, and later we had the opportunity to spend 6 months, close to 6 months at Microsoft Accelerator. And we were also picked up in the very first batch of Google Launchpad. See, all these helps in really nurturing the idea and building. Getting an idea is not a problem. I think it's plenty. Many people come up with in the startup community, right? Many people will have an idea. Building a business model around it and taking it to a market and assessing the right market target customer, that's the challenge, right? That's where these incubations and accelerators come handy. They will have a structured program, right? Validating a business, I think it's a very known the business canvas, right? Many people would have written about it. How do you really validate
Mhm.
your idea? Is it a painkiller or is it a vitamin, right? I mean, you need to know, I mean, what
Mhm.
is that you are solving? When you are solving, is it a recurring problem or is it once in a while somebody will come across? Is there once it's a recurring problem, then you know how big is the market, right? Once you know is the market, are they ready to pay for your solution, right? This exercise sometimes people would miss out and keep building features and then get a shock, okay, why people are not using it, right? So in a way, these accelerator incubation, because there are a lot of mentors, they have done it, right? It's an opportunity to learn and validate those very much in the beginning, right? Then I would say there are some 3 4 areas which I have put, having spent in all these accelerator and incubation. I would say anybody starting or looking for joining a incubation, definitely it helps. Number one, validation of your business idea through experts is the number one benefit. Then number two, I would say you have access to a lot of resources. For example, when you join Microsoft Accelerator or an ASCOM or any of these, like at present we are part of NSR Cell Incubation at IM Bangalore.
Mm.
You get a startup toolkit that will provide access to a lot of credits to your infrastructure like Amazon, Google, a bunch of tools. It has only a matured and it's available for you. If you have a great idea, you shouldn't be worried about your infrastructure cost and all. So resources are very useful when you go through this and how to use it
Okay.
efficiently. Third one is the networking. All these people have a credible network of mentors, practitioner, or industry experts. They come and talk, they come and mentor you, right? That's the wealth. It's up to us to pull that information and work with them and to gain that expertise. The network does help. And the last thing, along with the network, is a set of investors come and visit these accelerator regularly at a interval. There will be a demo day. There will be days where you can
Mm.
showcase your ideas. The right, you get to meet the investors where you need a capital also to grow your ideas. So these are the four things that typically you gain in an accelerator, and it's very useful.
That's quite informative. Thank you. And can you share about how did you start with sales and marketing for Zopnote and how it has evolved over the period of time?
I'll share my initial journey. So founders have to do the grunt work initially. You have to get onto
Yeah.
the field, meet the people. I've done it initially, talking to these 40 merchants that we onboarded, and
Mm.
went to at least 200, 300 houses along with them. This was mainly to
Oh,
understand their expectation, what they think as a problem, right? I mean, that needs to be solved, right? A lot of learning comes through that, and that's how we did the initial sales. I would say sales. There's no
into the field.
marketing. Even today, we haven't spent any marketing dollar,
Okay.
and we are yet to
Directly into the field.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
somebody would refer, and then you go and meet them. You're gone in the morning, early morning, to many distribution points, newspaper at 5 o'clock, and go and meet them, talk to them. So that has helped us to build the initial critical set of customers, and that's where we learned what they need, and we have iterated through the product probably more than 6 months, right? And we continue to refine the products, right? That's how the sales marketing piece got started, and after that, we started learning what are the way to scale it, right? And we started partnering with some of the influencers who influence these vendors and associations. And that's how we continue to do it. And marketing is something we would look at how to scale this business going forward.
Okay. That's interesting. Nice. Now you have a very good network and tie up with the startup community. How was the earlier days for Zopnote? What challenges did you face and how did you solve them? If you can share some instances that are close to your heart.
Sure, definitely. Because we had gone through IRF for 3 to 4 years, which we ran as a bootstrap, gave a lot of learning. Probably my MBA was while running the IRF company, right, the business.
Okay. Mhm.
But what happened when we started? We sold that business to a Comperify company in Chennai. Then we started figuring out what's the next big thing that we want to build. So we built
Mhm.
a couple of, and we pivoted. Finally, got into this Zopnote, which I kind of explained what got us there. Started building the use case, launching. But the challenge that we had was we had a very small, kind of a short runway, right? We couldn't keep iterating, build, and put money into the sales and marketing, make it big, right, during that time. So the setback or something that came is we had to wind down kind of the whole operations after 6 or 8 months of starting the Zopnote, right? My other partners decided to go back to the corporate job. So
Mhm.
that left a little uncertainty, but I was very, very clear on this hyperlocal commerce platform. There is a need for tech and there's a need for simplifying or optimizing this local commerce. It was very, very clear. So that's when I ran it for a couple of months alone, decided to adopt this baby and take it forward. That's when I met with Chengappa. and he kind of gave me the confidence. Let's do it and let's take it forward. So that was one of the early, right? It is something we had to manage, not so much from the ecosystem, right? I'm taking this value prop. Then we started building from that journey. So that was one experience I want to share.
And the minute you say you're a startup, you know how the market is for experienced resources. They always want stability. They want a fat paycheck. And considering working for a startup is always going to be a challenge. So we have to motivate them in different ways. Find the right people
Mhm.
who can be agile, think like us, collaborate with our vision as well, and then give us the right
Mm.
solution. So since Zopnote was built by Rajesh and the earlier team, we had to also adapt the technology and make sure it actually is functioning and works well. And touchwood,
Mhm.
2 years, we still have the same platform using the same technology. It's working very well for us.
That's nice. Yeah.
That's one more point I want to add, even from an investment, right? That's what comes to as a startup. And it was very
Mhm.
difficult. Unless you have a good traction or a lot of use case, investors would ask, where is it, right? I mean, that led to us not able to raise in the initial 6 months to
Okay.
build it. And that made us to close, decide to close. And then again, we kind of took off from that point.
You used to your thought process of helping the
Yes,
hyperlocal community.
yes.
Nice. Good. How about the core founding team? For any startups, that is the foundation. And what were the challenges and conflicts you had to face before you kickstarted your business? And how did you share the responsibility in the initial days?
Yeah, in our case, it's a transition from the earlier company. That's where Zopnote was born and got into a totally new company, which we registered together and took it off.
Mhm.
And always, as a when it comes to responsibility, it's typically the prior experience, right? Where somebody is good at. And I always believe complementing skill helps in a startup team. If everyone is a techie, it's a different. If everyone is a sales and marketing person, it's a different, right? It's a mix always helps. That's at
Makes
least
sense.
I believe it has helped in our case also. And there will be
Mhm.
always a discussion, right? Whether you want to build it for the horizontal platform or whether you want to build it as a vertical. I mean, we would debate all the time. Where is the real market, right? I mean, those are all the
Okay.
conflicts we do face. And end of the day, what's good for the business is takes the priority and we decide. And the same thing could be anything related to building a tech and how do we do it. And there will be a kind of different decisions. End of the day, I think we go with what's good for the business for us to stay floated and grow from there. Chingappa again.
I think we all know the end goal is what we want to accomplish. And in the case of Zopnote, it was very clear. Build the hyperlocal community, help nano merchants, give something back to society, improve their way of being, make it easier for us to transact every day. And Rajesh and I have always agreed on those four things. Even now, every day we probably have debates on how to implement some things, but we always agree to disagree and move on.
Okay. Yeah. The common goals are keeping it strong. Nice. Can you talk about the funding you managed to bootstrap your business and any investors that you had to get in the initial stages, or initially started with bootstrap, then you had to wait till certain stage?
Yeah, I mean, in our case, the first was the bootstrap, and the second one we started off, but we quickly learned a lot of things, right? I mean, we made a mistake of staying bootstrap too long in the first company. When we had the
Mhm.
opportunities to join some of the big payment aggregators, that time we decided to continue, and that really did not help. And when it came to monetization, it became a little difficult, right?
Okay.
So in this case, I think we are still bootstrapped, but I think starting next quarter, I think we are raising seed money and scaling the business forward. But until then, we are able to manage with a little calculative how much we spend on the tech, how much we spend, and but we learned a lot of nuances of what's out there and how can I monetize. I think our effort in the last 1 year plus has gone understanding our merchants, understanding the culture, little bit of their behaviors, right? Why would they use some software? Why would they say no? And why would they stop using it, right? These are the important things we need to know to grow the business. And that's what we did so far. But going forward, we would raise the money and scale what we have learned.
That's nice. When was the first moment of relief in your business since the inception? Was it any kind of an MVP or any kind of a customer deal that you were satisfied?
Yeah, in our case, it definitely started as a MVP. We launched the initial service, a newspaper, then we got onto the Kirana and Adobe, few other use cases. The initial, I would say, launching it to our own vendor and going around with him and seeing, oh, the first month we got so much paid online, and we could calculate how much time it saved. So after reaching a critical mass of kind of 40 merchants using it regularly, and we're able to see more than 50% people paying online, their customers. We had around 15,000 plus customers paying,
Mhm.
right? That was one validation that we had. And we could see the saving time, right? I think what we promised to the merchant, if you're able to keep up with that, that gives a satisfaction. Yes, I think we have achieved it. And we also went ahead and tested one hypothesis. Okay, these people need access to credit, right? That was our earlier hypothesis. We want to empower them by making them efficient, grow their business, and even help them get access to credit. That's the only way we feel we can empower them. So we did a small exercise of giving a short credit, uh, whoever
Mhm.
needed it. In a 6 month span, I think we dispersed nearly 35 lakh from our own books.
Oh,
And we could recover all the money within that 1 month. We could do a small pilot to validate, yes, there is a need. Nearly 40% of our vendors took these benefits, and they were, I mean, trust was good enough for them not to run away, take our, but we also trusted them, right? I mean, it's a both way. So that worked, that gave a lot of confidence, and that will grow substantially in the coming years in India, the credit field, right? It's so much, so far the digitization, demonetization, everything is fine now, it's all set, that's given, right? Now how do we empower them, how do we make it efficient, how do they stick to the business, how do they get money without collateral or anything, without physical assets? Can we build it based on the flow based lending, which they call, based on the number of transactions that they do on our platform? We feel confident we should be able to get them access to credit. So these are few validations at a point when we had a 40 merchants, gave us a confidence, yes, this is working. And then we started adding other services.
okay, that's interesting. How did you gauge the validation part of giving a credits? Because your business is on to helping merchants and also retail plus utility. So this is saying yes or no in terms of your own gauging. It's a little tricky and difficult, right? So how was that gauging?
Yeah, I think just to say one word, you have to trust somebody till you are proven wrong. That's the approach, right?
Okay.
And we knew these people don't need a lakh or a 10 lakh. These merchants
Hmm.
need like a 10,000 to 40,000, and a duration is only a month. Otherwise, they will go and borrow this money at a very expensive kind of a loan or a chit fund, or somewhere they borrow at a very high cost. So we knew that's existed, and we wanted to validate.
Nice, wonderful. Yeah. So, just out of curiosity, how spread is this product geographically? Is it within Bangalore or outside cities?
Yeah, we launched in Bangalore, and we are still in Bangalore. With the scale, it would spread to
Okay.
other cities, but for a, at least near future, we want to kind of validate from all aspect in Bangalore. Every service that we onboard,
Mhm.
as well as the go-to market, we will do it. Then we will spread it. As of today, we are mainly in the East Bangalore and South and some part of Northeast, and slowly
Mhm.
entering into different areas, and but mainly in the South and East Bangalore.
Okay, interesting. Nice.
Yeah, validate few use case. We have done somebody in Belgaum and somebody talking to in Shimoga to see, without even meeting them, can I sell my value proposition on board them? So we continue to do that because this can't be
Okay.
scaled by putting people across cities.
True, true. Yeah. So, on that same line, can you share some of the customer success stories which, if you felt that it's a pride moment for you for being part of their journey and for using your applications?
So there are plenty, but two things come to my mind. One is a little extension from what Rajesh spoke earlier in terms of funding for the vendors. With our
Hmm.
platform now, people are able to get about 30-40% of their collection in the first 10 days. So their need to borrow
Hmm.
money in the short term is gone, by the fifth or sixth, each one of them have 30% of the collection already in their bank, ready for them to use however they want. Earlier, if they wanted to pay EMIs, they would always have to ask around or borrow. Second use case I can talk about is one of our vendors used to come from work every day and in the evening spend time going to people's houses collecting the balances that are owed to him. But because of Zopnote now, he's actually running a restaurant in the evening because most of
Oh,
his payments happen online.
Okay, that's nice. It has your thought process has fueled.
Correct, correct. And to quote one more, same guy, I think he completely relies on Zopnote. He doesn't even go to any house for collection. And he's able to collect 90-95% online every month. And he has started a laundry business and he completely focuses on that. Right. And these are the use case gives confidence. I mean, our hypothesis, these people need technology interventions to improve their lifestyle. They also feel proud. I'm running my business on a mobile, right? I mean, why only for a bigger companies? And that gives us a lot of satisfaction.
Nice, strong stories actually. Your customers are actually spreading their wings and running multiple businesses. That itself
Yeah, I mean,
is
yeah,
a
they
big
do
thing.
acknowledge.
Yeah,
They do acknowledge one more point is they're able to spend more time with their family. I mean, they are just like us, right? I mean, just listening
wonderful.
from them on a weekend. Otherwise, they would spend going door to door. They do have a
True, true.
family time.
Yeah, very nice. How COVID has impacted you, and what are the changes and dynamics it has got in both you as an individual and also for your business dynamics?
We thought we are a touch-free app, and COVID is going to be very positive on us because we don't really have the touch and feel that would have happened in the earlier business environment. So we thought with this, our app can actually work very well. A lot of vendors will embrace us, and it actually worked for them. So the reality was true; it was correct. A lot of vendors showed interest in our app because it actually helped them in social distancing, and they could also run their business. Unfortunately for them, their customers decided to shy away. So they stopped their services for a couple of months, hearing that COVID comes through newspaper, COVID comes through touching clothes, COVID comes through bags.
Mhm.
So because their business reduced drastically, though they were onboarded, they were on our platform, they could not perform as much transactions as they wanted to using Zapper. But now that things
Mhm.
are looking better, which is where we are growing leaps and bounds in the last couple of months. Uh, there's been good amount of people looking to know more about Zopnote and trying to embrace it and use it in their day-to-day use. As a business, this actually validated what we're trying to do. Social distancing is still the norm all around, and with Zopnote only makes it easier for people to order, buy, and also pay for their products that they order.
Yeah, just to add,
Okay.
I think Singapore covered most of the things. The remote commerce, right? That concept got
Mhm.
accelerated post-COVID from a business, right? Most people don't go
Yeah.
to from an apartment; they find convenient, send a WhatsApp and all, right? Then the order gets delivered. We help that part,
True.
right? That can be recorded and it's visible. And we have seen some of the new use cases in a community also, right? And there are many specialized food or items or the vegetable fruits gets delivered from somewhere from the farm. Somebody would reach out to a apartment and they find something. It's happening through different channels, WhatsApp, then a group, then a Google sheet, right? We kind of just replacing all this hurdles. And these are all the new
Mhm.
use cases like a pop store we call. So are
Mhm.
evolving post COVID. Personally, I think it's a good 1 year to rediscover yourself and become a lot more resilient and face it. And we are ready for that.
Okay. Nice. How big is your team?
Yeah, we have two promoters. There are two people on the ground, and there's one
Mhm.
account manager and a part-time operations executive. It's a five-member team, 6 members.
Okay. Nice. These days digitization is must for scaling any business, and you are helping clients in terms of digitalization. I'm interested to know what are the plans for your scaling and any ideas to share on the growth of the business.
Unfortunately or fortunately, our customer is a little different compared to the regular Indian person who knows a lot about technology and he's using his cell phone or internet. Most of these guys have one or two jobs, so they use their phones mainly for entertainment rather than looking at apps. So they spend some time on Facebook, they spend some time on TikTok and those kind of apps which give them entertainment, give them a way to release or de-stress themselves.
Mhm.
So our plan right now is to reach to them through these platforms, find a way how where we can actually advertise or we can actually reach out to them on the platforms where they are actually frequenting, and then it becomes easier for us to reach out to them because they know that since we are in those platforms, they can relate to us a lot more.
Okay, through the advertisement platforms as well. or the entertainment platforms as well.
entertainment platforms, correct? And also through a lot of references, word of mouth. We want to kind of start a gamification where we have people reach out to one another and then have some contests, have some
Hmm.
programs there because people like to always compete. And through that competition, we kind of reach out and spread the word about Zopnote to many more vendors.
Okay, okay, nice idea. These days, options of virtual learning and picking up any skills, right? For example, Android courses are available quite in many available free ways these days. Have you experienced any such young talents coming out with a catchy or a valuable software products out of schools or be it out of colleges? Any such instances?
Yeah, I can quote, but nothing that we are in touch with those resources. But it's good to share for the startup
Hmm.
community. People know, right? I think it's not about so much learning about these skills. People will learn, and there are plenty of resources to do it. But the
True.
important thing is the willingness or something, ambition to do something early, right? That's very important. If somebody has it, I think they will figure out where to learn and they start doing it. Couple of examples that I can definitely quote. I know my daughter's just finished 10th, and her classmate named Shreyas, he built the
Mhm.
app called Bed Availability during this Corona time, right? He published
Okay.
and it was available, and public could use where the bed is available if somebody is affected today from a corona, right? They can get admitted. He
Hmm.
figured out the server side technology, he figured out the web technology, he figured out how to scale. And the way when I interacted, it was equivalent to somebody having the 3 years after 4 years of experience after finishing the engineering, but he's just a 16 or 17-year old, right? It's an example
That's
which is doable.
yeah.
What he's passionate about solving it, and he would continue to do it, right? One more I want to quote is
Mhm.
maybe some of you would have heard the Nihar Tucker, right? Who built again less than 16 years probably. He built for a BMTC, right? He built an app so that
Mhm.
commuters can wait at a bus stop and know exactly when the bus is coming, right? These are all the examples which is nothing about because resources are easy to learn anything, but it's more the willingness to build something and going
Yeah.
through that journey. And it proves a point that people can jump into this much earlier and can build big businesses. Yeah, pursuing their
Yeah,
passion
yeah,
is very
true, true.
important.
And connecting to the use cases that they'll be able to solve. That's
Correct,
big
correct.
thing for that age. Nice. I wanted to understand what could go wrong in the initial stages of entrepreneur journey from your earlier experiences.
Um, I think what could go wrong, my experience is sometimes we get fascinated by our solution, not
Mhm.
understanding the problem enough. We start building a features and we think, and we make the next mistake is not validating that with any customers. We keep on building, and I'll be ready on one day, and I want to launch it. Then you get shocked when it's totally people are not adopting it, and right, this is the mistake initially happens. You focus too much on the your solution, not really knowing the problem or validating. This typically happens. And one more, monetizing it, right? It's very important. It's not a charity kind of a work, right? When you're building business, it has to generate revenue, and it will only become more and more prominent as a journey continues, right? In a startup in the ecosystem, people will look for how will you become profitable. There are many e-commerce companies are built. There are different hypotheses. Okay, growth is important, but finally, at some point, people need to make money, right? There is a tendency to postpone monetization, right, to the very late. At least you should have an idea how this can generate and keep it ready, not that you have to experiment it, right? So these are the couple of mistakes I've seen. I think not looking at the opportunity holistically and start jumping in too early. I think that's mistakes people do. I recently read this book called Monetizing Innovations by Madhavan, right? Very good book too. I mean, you have to think about monetization even when you before you decide the product and the features, right? It has to be there in your mind. It's a good reference.
Good one. Thank you. So, also on that failure part, as long as the use cases are streamlined and you have the plans to fail fast and learn fast, so that you are back on track. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, for people going through failures, what's your message to uplift them?
Kevin, definitely I'll share mine. I think failures are always there, and very important is how do you learn out of it and not repeating it is very important. And be very open and don't think you know all the things. Learn from others' mistakes also. And being in an ecosystem, the more you network, connect, right? They will tell their stories. Don't spend you
Mm-hmm.
another 6 months doing the same and I learned it. Don't carry any of those ego that I know it. I think every day we are still learning, right? So learning
Mm-hmm.
will not stop. I think a failure will happen. Don't take it okay, it's a bad. And in fact, I would say, I think if you're not failing, probably you're not trying hard enough. I think you're not venturing to, and being in a startup. That's the other signal too, right? So that's how it is. And again, one more point to add is a failure comes when you have a certain expectation or a certain milestone, certain goals, right? How do you build that? I have to raise money in the next 3 months and I have to release the product. And if you set that and if you fail, then you feel disappointed. It's wrong, right? It's a journey. I mean, you
Mm-hmm.
start with some idea, be open. It will evolve, right? You might get disappointed because you did not hit the milestone. Milestones are not the one that you should be solving, and it might take longer. And at some point, you will accelerate. So two things. One is it's very common. I mean, it's a failures will be there, and how do you learn out of it? Second, I mean, have a reasonable, I mean, the right expectations, and be motivated with that. Small milestones should be the stepping stone for you.
Okay. Nice tips. Yeah. So, how do you stay calm during the day of a chaos?
Well, I'll put it this way: every day is a chaos for us. You just
Okay.
decide there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, I mean, even I would agree. I'm still learning. It's not that we have conquered or something. We know it. What helps is probably keeping the business priorities and the customer first, then probably the employee, and then the certain business goals. Right? If you have these priorities clear, you'll be able to decide. Okay, I'm going to say no for this. I'm going to say yes for it. So probably you can have build a plan around with those principles. You will have a plan for a week or something so that you can stay focused in spite of chaos. It's bound to happen.
Okay.
And
Okay.
what's
Yeah.
really helped us is honesty and transparency. As long as you're open about it, you tell people if there's an issue, there's an issue. This is a challenge we're facing, and here's what we're doing to fix it. Everybody understands. Everybody's supportive.
Okay. Yeah. Keeping it simple, working around the principles. Nice. What is one important quality that any budding entrepreneur should have to start with?
Um, I would say probably perseverance and being very clear in your mind what you want to do. I think, irrespective of all the ambiguity, uncertainties, and the challenges that you hear, I think as long as you have a perseverance and clarity of thoughts or the business idea.
Okay. Okay.
Keep your ears completely open. Don't ignore any feedback.
Yeah. For improvements. Nice. What's your suggestion for young people having big ideas but they are afraid to begin with?
Uh, I think again, I would repeat, there's no perfect idea as such, right? I think as long as you are motivated, passionate to solve something, you might find some other idea after validating the first one. The starting point is, I mean, don't live with okay, this is a big idea, it has to work, and this is the only way. I need to be very clear with this idea before I can jump. No, get started, build small, give it to the customer, and they will tell you.
Mm.
Customer is the king, right? He decides the quality and he
Yeah.
decides whether it's good, right? We sometimes deliberate too much of analysis, but I think get started, even a small idea. It will do. I mean, just to quote an example, I spent a lot of time working for Hewlett Packard, right? They never started that company having an idea to build a printer or a computer. They
Yeah.
built a company with a nice environment or innovative or innovation driven culture in the company, and they hired the
Mm.
right people and they came up with ideas and built so many products that HP is known for, right? But it's a corporate comparison, but all things started in a garage as a small like HP, right? I mean, I don't spend too much time on a one idea or anything. If you're passionate, get started and you will find your way.
Okay. Nice. Moving on the same line of learning from mistakes, right? Can you do you have any specific instances to share that you did any big mistakes and corrected in fast way so that you have an experience which you used for coming back to normal?
I think hard one to remember and quote. I think
Okay.
at least I can quote one from IRF days. We were not masters on growing the business through a digital marketing or anything. I was running a campaign referral program. I thought I can give
Mhm.
250 rupees if somebody refers five people, and if five people start using the app, it went so
Okay.
viral, and within 6 7 hours we had to shut down. We had crossed 10,000 downloads, and people who were doing it were not the users that we wanted to onboard. These people were little hackers,
Okay.
or there are a bunch of people who know it how to
Oh,
hack it and make money, right? So quickly we had to shut down that campaign and stop it. So I mean, many, I think that gives you a lot of learning. If I had not done it, probably I may not learn many of these things. That helped. There are quite a few of these we have learned on the way, right? And what is the best way to spend the money, and what not to repeat. I mean, this is the learning you will get it from many others in the ecosystem.
I think talking about technology, about a year back, while doing some maintenance, so deleting some test database, I actually deleted production. So, and we only realized it maybe after about a couple of hours when the vendors called back and said nothing is working in the app. So we kind of had to back up from the latest
okay.
recovery, but then we lost about 4 hours of data. We explained to the vendors what the issue was. They were
Okay.
open, they understood it, so they had to kind of recreate some data which they transacted in the last couple of hours. So it does help.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
and
And they had
one
to do
more
it, is it for?
correct.
Mhm.
Correct. And it does happen, right? Initially, we would know when to, how much to do inside the company, how much to outsource it. And we're still learning, right? And it's very given that the core product idea, and it's better you build it inside. And we have tried some of the outsourcing, right? When you do it outside, it's very hard to build the same level of passion or some commitment outside. It's always easy within your team, right? But we have done enough mistakes and learning there, right? I mean, that's one area I think most of us go through, what to build or buy from outside.
Okay. Yeah. Good experiences. Yes. Which one innovation in your company you feel that it is actually has got a very good feedback or you felt very good feature for the users?
Uh, Good question. In my view, we tried this onboarding of merchants, right? We are still perfecting that and keeping it very simple and very easy for our target customers like ours, right? We onboard them with a simple mobile number, and with another mobile number of his customers, we're able to automate the whole onboarding journey. See, I can't expect my merchant go and onboard your 500, right? We have automated that part also, right? We made it very easy. I feel that has been successful for us onboarding one merchant, and he's 500 to 1,000 customers, right? In a simple way,
Mhm.
keeping it very simple. Second, which I found very powerful, right? When we collect money for these merchants, like anybody, they always want to have control on that money. It belongs to them, right? So giving
Yeah. Yeah.
that feel, what we released one feature is they can always see the money collected, and we have provided a button next to it, settle now, right? He can move it to his
Mhm.
bank. He always feels initially, I want to, this is my money, I'm working with somebody, what if they
Yeah.
disappear, right? Giving control, giving what
Okay.
they own and deserve, right? Making it very simple for them. I found, I think it became a success for all the merchants, and they started feeling. Otherwise, they would ask advance. If you don't settle, give me advance. You take it, right? That
True. True.
behavior change. I think these two probably I can think of.
Nice.
I think the other important thing was that now we need to understand is you can do an automatic end of the day payment to their banks. But the fact is, these
Mhm.
people don't want all the money uh, at any given day. They want money when they want to use it. So they need that flexibility, the freedom to kind of draw money when they want it, to make an EMI payment, fees, or however, pay their vendor, however they look at it. So the settle now gives them that flexibility. So you could automate
Okay.
the direct payment to the banks, but settle now get that flexibility. And the other thing from a customer perspective is the transparency they have in the bills. Earlier, the vendors
Mhm.
would come to them once in a couple of months. They wouldn't remember what was paid, what was not, when was the last payment made. But the amount used to be small, they would not discuss about it a lot. But today, any transaction they do, because it is captured on our platform, they can see all the transactions, they know all the bills, they know what they're paying for. So that gives them a lot more comfort when they make their payment.
Okay, nice. I guess they have complete control and transparency.
Correct,
Okay,
exactly.
good features. Awesome. What is your vision on AI and IoT startups in India down the line 5 years, and what are the impacts that you foresee in our overall ecosystem in India?
Um, it's not something we are heavily using, but definitely there is a role to be played by these technologies at a massive scale, even for Zopnote. But knowing what has happened, right, with 500 million people having a smartphone, and we know how much data we generate, right? It's the end of the day,
Yeah.
it's like a data plus technology can do wonders, right? And that's exactly this AI and IoT are going to do it. In my view, in the next 5 years or 10 years, I think even the devices with IoT, right? If 3 billion people in the world, probably 3.54 billion people are generating so much data, imagine 50 billion devices connected to internet also starts generating data is a massive, right? This technology existed even before, but there was not that volume of data to build something meaningful. I think now time has come and it's happening as long as it improves the predictability and a kind of a efficiency, right? Or making if that happens, I think nothing like it. It will. I mean, as long as end of the day, it should make your life simpler and save time and cost. I think
True,
AI
true.
and IoT has a high potential.
Yeah, and now the data is getting generated at massive scale. Yeah, that matters a
Yeah.
lot. Nice. Yes.
Even in Zopnote,
Uh,
we do so many transactions every day and so many customers every month. So I'm sure in the next couple of years, we will have features where you can just click one button and automatically place your order or even make your payments uh, as we understand the customer behavior much better.
okay, okay, nice, very good. Moving on to the next segment of this episode, rapid fire questions. I'll just listed few. Bring it on. What's your favorite sports or game you play?
For me, cricket.
Playing with the chess.
Okay. What's the best thing that happened to you this month?
I had postponed couple of personal commitments, which I would give a reason as a startup, but I made a point take my daughter and spend time in a felicitation program. I felt so fulfilled.
Wonderful. And Chengappa, yourself?
I think we took a vacation with our family to a place in Sakleshpur.
Okay.
That was the best.
Okay. Wonderful. Which article or a book you have read recently which you got inspired from?
Yeah, for me, as I mentioned, monetizing innovation and
Hmm.
thinking like a monk are the two books which I'm reading. I read audiobooks.
Okay. Wonderful.
I'm reading The Mouse Trap.
Sorry?
It's called The Mouse Trap.
Oh, Mousetrap. Okay. Nice. And what's your favorite subject in school?
For me, it was science.
Okay.
Mathematics.
Okay. Nice. Oh, what does creativity means to you in one sentence?
For me, it can creativity doesn't need some preparation or anything. You can create anything, and that gives joy.
Peace of mind.
Okay, cool. Keeping it simple. Nice. What time you go to sleep and wake up in the morning, and how does your first few hours of morning look like?
Wow, around midnight, and get up at 6.
Okay.
And always there's something I don't think about what to do next while sleeping or anything. In the morning, probably I take that 10 minutes reading something I like about a book or something or inspirational, 5-10 minutes.
Mhm.
Then I write down what I want to do, and then the day starts. Normal routine.
Nice.
I sleep around 11:30 as well. First thing I do when I wake up in the morning is check WhatsApp to see any customers send any messages or any communication. Then
Okay.
spend some time replying to messages, looking at all the messages that have kind of piled up over the previous day,
Okay. Cool.
and then get on with life.
Okay. Okay. Right on to work for you.
Oh yes,
Nice. Um, Yeah. So, what's the best compliment you ever received for the accomplishments you have done so far?
I think it has been our customer feedback, and nothing else mattered in the last 1 2 years, and support from the family.
Okay, yeah, it matters.
I probably say the fact that customers don't scream when things go wrong. That is the best compliment.
Okay, nice. And who's your mentor that and a leader that you follow most? And how do you make sure that your mentors are available to you when you need them?
I have many in the different areas because of the network of the reach. I think from these ecosystem we are able to schedule a time and discuss the problem. It could be bigger companies, right? We're able to do
Mhm.
it because we are connected through the ecosystem. We can borrow their time and get the feedback on our ideas. It always has worked. There are people you have to ask for it.
Okay, yeah, that's nice. It's wonderful. We are coming to the end of this show. For people who don't know about you and your company, where should they look for? What are the links?
Okay. So I would say Zopnote is here to kind of optimize the e-commerce for a hyperlocal environment, and they can read about us at zopnote.com, www.zopnote.com, and we are available on LinkedIn connection if somebody is interested in our journey or wants to help us in whatever working with us or a mentorship, and they can write to us on LinkedIn.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, we are on social media. They can reach
Okay,
out through any channel, and if you're publishing any of our contacts, they can write to us on WhatsApp also. Always available.
wonderful, nice. It was wonderful talking to you both, and I thoroughly enjoyed discussing and getting insights from your experience. Thanks a lot, both Rajesh and Chengappa.
Thank you, Ashok. It was
Yeah,
really good,
thank you so
wonderful to
much.
live through.
Yeah, I mean it's always refreshing. Sometime going back to and running through our journey, and it's motivating for us to build something big. Thank you so much.
Nice.
Thanks, sir.
Thanks a lot. Okay, we are at the end of episode number 21. Thank you very much, Rajesh and Chengappa, for coming on and sharing your experiences. And to our listeners, you can find out the episode summary in the description. Until we catch up soon with more exciting stories, stay tuned, be motivated. Thank you.